Well, another good evening to everybody tuning into the Unfiltered Historians. Always now, I guess, regular scheduling of Sunday Unfiltered Conversations. We have a weird all-star lineup tonight. First of all, in the top left corner, we have. Why do we have Homer Simpson? I just realized that's
No. No.
to the right of him. We have John Sangleton Masby. Then down to the bottom left, we have a treasonous man by the name of Robert Edward Lee.
Yeah, how y'all doing?
Is that Ronald Reagan in the bottom right corner?
I'm paying for this microphone, Mr. McGraw.
Boy, I'll tell you what. Good to see you, everybody. Glad to have another episode here. It is just us. We're kidding. That wasn't actually our friends there that we were showing. It's us. We were just showing you guys, I guess, a portion of our books. Darren, I don't know what the fuck you were doing there with
I didn't have time to get up and go and grab a book with a picture on it, so I just Googled, and the first thing that came to my head was Homer Simpson. Because, he's like just amazing.
Hell yeah.
The
Simpsons predict a lot of shit anyway, so it's worth
didn't they?
checking out. They did.
Yeah.
Homer's the best cartoon dad ever created.
It's part of my childhood.
I don't know, man. Hank Hill's in pretty good competition with that.
That's why I'm so messed up. But yeah.
That's why you're so messed up?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. He's Homer.
It's been a pretty eventful week. Got to do some work, and then I'll have a couple of days off. Got to do a ton of reading, so I finished most of my pile on Waco, believe it or not. That was pretty easy to read and digest, so that's out of the way now. And I got a new stack. We'll talk about that once we get into that segment. But first, I need an update from England. What's going on in your history world, Darren? Have you done any fun podcasts this week? Anything cool going on in your world?
I did actually do a podcast at the beginning of the week with Tim. And we did,
that's right.
Hampton Roads. He did quite well, first week.
Yeah?
Really well, yeah. Quite a few downloads and quite a few views on YouTube, so go and check it out. It's good.
John B. over there on YouTube, who will actually be on the Unfiltered tomorrow night for an episode I'll talk about here in a moment, actually is saying Hank over Homer, and boy, I'll tell you what, that's a good
good choice. Now right Tyler's going to invite you back again.
Mm-hmm. That's how that happens. Yeah, now that you said that, you're on for more than one. I have you tomorrow, but I'll tell you what. Anthony, History World, you're next. I'm going to you. What the heck? Toilet paper. All right, explain.
My Harper's Ferry shirt. For those of you
did
not
they make
watching,
toilet powder?
It's that advertisement that's on the side of the mountain, Maryland Heights there. Menon's borated talcum toilet powder. Now available at Walmart.
Is it really? Did you get that shirt from
at Harper's Ferry?
No.
Well, it was, and then you bought the last one, didn't you?
He probably.
Yeah, I took them all. Yeah.
He wanted every single shirt that they had.
Well, I think I finished the George H.W. Bush book. Commentary on there. I finished the George H.W. Bush book. No, it's a popular shirt over there at the store. So I finished the George H.W. Bush book, then I read the George Henry Thomas book, and now we're into Atlanta.
I'm sensing a theme here.
And then after that, we're off to Germany.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Just
go after you've burnt Atlanta and the whole of Georgia.
Right, Atlanta.
Go to see the Germans. Yeah.
You know what I haven't said in a long time, Anthony? Sherman dreamed of a brighter Atlanta.
Oh, I generally don't find these funny.
I know. Oh, Jesus God, here.
You've just set. Wait a second. This is perfect timing for it. You just set the bar low. Lower than him.
How is that even possible? Setting it lower than Barlow? All right, sorry guys, we're segmenting into some terrible
dad jokes.
Cue the dad jokes. He's good at that. That's the problem.
I see it. I think.
Well,
that's down. Is that Mamie
the bar
down?
is so low.
That is.
I think it's Mamie.
The bar is so low. You might as well bring it up a ton.
Eric Cole over there on Facebook. Josh.
Ah,
What is this turned into?
Just behave yourselves, will you?
No, never.
no.
We're going to change the name to the
I'm not.
Unhinged Historian. Civil War Breakfast Club over on Facebook. How are you doing,
Good
friends?
evening.
It's good to see you guys as
I
always.
just had breakfast for dinner.
Let me ask our audience: what is the best breakfast food for dinner? Is it pancakes? Is it waffles? Is it French toast? Is it eggs? What's the best breakfast for dinner? Chime in the comments.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Yes, Sherman dreamed of a
sorry,
brighter
I'm going to have
night.
to chime in first because it's got to be the English breakfast. You can stick your French toast and your waffles up your backside. That's not breakfast, is it? It's dessert. Yeah.
I am jealous of y'all's breakfast. It's legit.
It's not a good breakfast. Dude, are you smoking? What?
No,
I
do like that.
Hardtack?
I do really like American breakfast.
Well,
do you?
I don't feel like soaking my hardtack for 45 damn minutes. Doesn't even make it fucking edible.
No. Ew, dude. Well, if you get some weevils in it.
Scrapple.
Scrapple, Daz
Yeah.
does.
Do you want to hear what I'm going to have on my breakfast first, though?
I do.
So we've got to have 2 sausages. You've got to have hash browns, but not like hash browns like you have them. They're like little sort of like triangle type things. You've got to have baked beans. You've got to have bacon.
Footballs. You've
got to have fried slice. And you've got to have a slice of toast. And, to finish it all off, you've got to have a pot of tea.
Yeah, right.
You said something I don't know. What is a fried slice?
So you get a piece of bread and you deep fry it.
Fried bread.
It's so good.
I thought Americans deep fried anything. Fried bread.
Yeah.
Where do you think we learned it from?
The fried butter at it's like the state fairs and stuff. That's pretty darn cool.
And now I'm really hungry, so I'm going to go and have breakfast. See you later.
I had 2 chili cheese dogs today, so rest in peace to my future.
So you'll be running to the bathroom in a minute then?
More than likely. That's why I'm drinking Stella Artois tonight with it's kind of a cool thing. I got an unfiltered historian
You really
Stella
have
glass.
hit the bottom of the barrel now.
I'm having a chipwich.
He got the chipwiches.
I thought Budweiser was bad, but Tyler, that's this.
Do you not like Stella?
I do not like that stuff, no.
But you drink Budweiser.
I wouldn't clean my drains with that.
Budweiser's the king of beers.
Exactly.
Yeah, clearly. So, guys, this is slowly going into not a historical.
Anyway, I didn't get to tell you what I was reading.
Yeah, please tell me what you're reading. Let's keep.
I've got them right here.
Oh,
so,
sweet.
like, last week I was talking about like the South Kent coast and the defences. So I got these. After that conversation, I had to get these little books out and give them another look over. Because I've been researching this stuff really heavily. So I got a really cool little book on the Martello Towers. You see, it's really cool. Yeah, and then to follow that up, I have the Royal Military Canal one, which is all connected.
Oh, sweet.
And the thing is, they're not very big. They're like little pamphlet type things, but inside they're just amazing. They've got little maps. They've got all the information you need to find every single one, where it's located, just stuff like that, And with the canal, it's got a map, the same thing, So they're really good little reference books, for my local history. So, yeah. And they were great little finds, actually. They're hard to come by, those little pamphlets.
So, Darren, really quickly, before I get into my big stack of books, I think I have it next to me. No, I don't. That means it's out in the living room because I was reading it earlier. I actually picked up a book on the Titanic this week. There's a really cool thing that Darren and I are doing. We're going to talk about the building of the Titanic and then all the way up to the sinking of the ship coming up on the anniversary this year. So that's actually going to be on Darren's podcast. So we're going to be out for that one, which is going to be really exciting. For those that don't know, I have let's point to Darren this time, just so he can. Yeah, there you go. Hello, Darren. I love this showgirl thing you did. Hello. But yeah,
there's civilized now,
So we are doing that one. That was one of my first real historical obsessions. The first one was actually Mount St. Helens. My grandparents used to work for the United States Geological Survey. So it was a crazy explosion. Stuff happened. And crazy people decided to stay and, this mountain ain't going to do nothing to me. I'll be okay. And the guy got buried in a chiroplastic flow. So, don't do that. Listen to scientists sometimes. But the Titanic really struck me because obviously I don't, again, want to date myself on on this live video, but I was born in 1995, so Titanic came out in 97. I was 2 years old, and one of my first vivid memories was this lady on TV on Entertainment Tonight saying the Titanic sunk, and I thought that she said the Titanic stunk, and I saw the green barnacles all over it, so I was like, oh yeah, that smells like shit. I bet it does. Yeah. But that was where it all started, because I remember just always sort of knew the ship because I knew it smelled really bad, but clearly it sunk, and I came across to that and was like, oh, well, this is kind of interesting. So I had the soundtrack that got me into it. I saw the movie, which my mother, for her safety, probably didn't know that Kate Winslet had a very awesome scene in that.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. As a young man, it corrupted me. But yeah.
I like to think of that as an educational experience.
Oh, it was.
It was very educational. Yeah,
but it was a great movie. I remember it very well.
That's why I leave handprints in my car now. Like, I just smack my window before I leave, because that's iconic.
The underrated actor, I think, is what's his name? Who's in the lead role? I can't remember his name. It escapes me now.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo is probably one of the most underrated actors in the world.
He did a really good job in What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Speaking of actors and movies, tonight is the Oscars, so I think it's a perfect segue into a topic to talk about, which is history in film. So go ahead, people that are watching out there, and please write your least favorite and most favorite movie related to the American Civil War and or.
Oh, thanks, Kojak.
Thanks. Well, that makes three of us then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm born in 95 too. What are you talking about?
Great year.
How about your favorite Civil War or least favorite or best about our recent scuffle with the British, too?
I don't remember any films about that. I mean, that Patriot.
Well, anybody's changing the subject before I can say what I'm reading.
Liz got it.
That Patriot movie with Mel Turdburglar in it. That is the sickest movie I've ever seen. And not only that, then he's on Braveheart, yeah, and that just winds me up as well. I don't think he likes us, the English.
No, I don't think he does either. He took that role, yeah, the Patriot. Yeah.
Everything he makes is against the British, and he has to just be nasty.
Glory. I'm seeing a lot of Glory. That's really cool. I also see Turdburglar.
Well, Bonnie Prince Charlie. Oh, what are we?
So
we just watched Copperhead.
Guys, my top
Copperhead
3
is good.
So if we all say
Field of Dreams sucked.
Field of Lost
Dreams.
Field of Lost
Shoes. That one. Field of Dreams also sucks too, because he's dreaming the entire time. That one. Field of Lost Shoes is terrible.
Oh man,
Field of Dreams. There will come.
For some people in the South, Field of Dreams is probably a good way to call Field of Lost Shoes, because that was another batch of Southern propaganda right there.
Well,
it was so bad.
Let's pick one of these movies, and Tyler, go ahead and pick one.
Well, which one I didn't like?
Cold Mountain is definitely on my top 3.
Oh, I'm seeing some great movies. Hold on, least favorite Cold Mountain. Yeah, that movie was.
No, that was in my top 3. I like that.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I think the best bit about it is the beginning.
With killing the bunny.
Benedict Arnold.
And not only that, let's get something straight. There's an English actor in it playing the lead role. Yeah. Jude Law is British. So, round of applause for Jude Law.
Yeah. Gone with the Wind. I saw it when I was 12.
Jude Law good.
I know lots don't like it. I think it's a staple of literature. So I will say that.
W.P. Heerman.
Last of the Mohicans.
I've never actually seen that yet.
No, I haven't actually either. Yeah, that was a good one.
You've seen The Patriot, but you haven't seen The Last of the Mohicans?
Hey, The Patriot's actually a fun movie to watch because, the British deserved it.
Free State of Jones was pretty good.
We're not watching that.
I will, maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say it was like the best movie I've ever seen, but I will tell you what, that battle scene in the beginning was probably, in terms of Civil War films, one of the most realistic battle scenes I've ever seen on TV. When it comes to Civil War. So yes, in that regard, I found that fascinating.
And recently I watched Emancipation with Will Smith. That was very good.
Was it?
It was, yeah. I enjoyed that.
Oh, Last of the Mohicans has gotten some serious attention. Look at that. John Baggett and Liz says last.
I'm waiting for a Dances with Wolves comment.
Kevin Costner, right?
Well, the best. Hey,
Charles Vinoy over on
Hi,
Facebook.
Charles.
And
Always
another good
Howdy
movie was I think it was more of a TV movie was Andersonville. I thought that was quite good.
Right.
That's a good one.
One that wasn't really based on a lot of fact, but was actually really good and it led me into actually wanting to learn. And actually, I have the book right here. Is Hell on Wheels, believe it or not, about the building of the Transcontinental Railroad. A lot of that obviously is fake, but there's some interesting things that take place. Like in the beginning, you're seeing somebody exacting revenge for what they felt was wronging in Meridian, Mississippi, and Sherman's army moving through the South. And it does touch on that, like still divisiveness that's going on between former Confederates and former Union soldiers. And it also goes into what we were doing as we were expanding further west. Some of the political what do you want to call it, corruption that's happening on the railroad, and seeing how the money is being absolutely abused in the privatized sense. This book is one of the ones that's on my list next. Because of watching that, I found this at McKay's. My notes getting blurry. It's called Empire Express: Building the First Transcontinental Railroad. It's a pretty hefty book. I wanted to read Ambrose's book, but I know Ambrose is really hit or miss sometimes. There's some good books, but I'm nervous when it comes to reading Ambrose stuff.
Right
But
about.
we're also saying
Right
favorite movies and least favorite movies. How has someone not said Lincoln yet?
Well, hold on.
No, this
Wait
is
a
true.
second. Pause on that one. That right there is a great. Go back to that, please. Can you go back to 1776? I know Darren doesn't want us to go back to 1776.
What's good about it? There's nothing good about it at all.
He's not happy about
never
that.
even
There's some
seen it.
great
Sorry,
comedy.
Pat.
There's some great music.
I've
One
never
of the
seen it.
earliest, while other people were playing, for Halloween, they were dressing up as other stuff. One of my earliest costumes in memory was of Richard Henry Lee, right? My name is Richard Henry Lee. Virginia is my home, right? So while other people were dressing up as the Scream and all that, I was dressing up as Richard Henry Lee. So take that for what you wish.
Eerily, verily, everywhere, ali.
Or one of the best lines in that movie, fire wagon, and they all run off. And also when Rhode Island misses a vote because they're out pissing at the necessary. But I can see in comments that we say to hell with Great Britain. With the eagle inside.
guys.
Anyway, I'm just going to leave.
No, you don't. No, you stay here,
We
Darren.
say
I love you.
to
Don't go.
hell with Great Britain. I didn't say it first. This commenter did right
The
there.
episode of
you
Hell
did. I
on
know you
Wheels with General Grant was really good. It really, really was. I'm glad that he has made an appearance in Hell on Wheels.
We missed another good movie in there, Tyler.
Oh,
Somebody commented The General. Did you see that? There was a comment for The General.
Yeah, the Breakfast
Was
Club
there?
mentioned that, I think.
Did they? Oh, they did. Yes, look at that. Sorry, Breakfast Club. Another great Civil War movie is the silent movie The General. It was surprisingly very entertaining.
Fess Parker Disney movie.
Is that about the Great Train? Yeah, it is.
Well, you got the Buster Keaton version, which is that one, and then you have the Fess Parker one, which was Disney, which was also really good.
Liz wants you to sing some 1776.
We just did.
Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah, don't sing it again.
I'm a horrible singer.
To hell with Great Britain.
Charles Vinoy said Mark Lauer said the Ambrose book was a good read. Yeah, I see, and I've heard that. I do have it. I haven't started with that one because if I want to dive in, I figured that the Empire Express would be a great way to start. It is on my list to read, so I'm glad Mark thought it was good because that makes me a little more comfortable.
Liz, please rate the singing.
Tasbo said, oh, not that one. Darren doesn't like that. Yeah,
I don't do
musicals, so I don't do 1776. I haven't seen 1776 either, so I'm with you. The only musicals I really like are Sweeney Todd and Hamilton. Again, sorry, Darren. Liz said,
the only part of 1776 I've seen is the part that Anthony held me hostage to watch.
Oh, did he hold you hostage to watch it?
Mm-hmm.
Watched a little bit of the baseball game with GB and US yesterday. It looked to me like the pitcher was in front of the mound and not on it. I have one comment about that. Have you seen their uniform? There was a meme that got passed around today on Facebook that was really funny, and it was the Great Britain. Their uniforms were taken from a Word document with the most basic font ever. Someone literally just typed in Great Britain and printed it out and stuck it on their uniform. And I was like, yeah. Darren, what the heck was up with the uniforms this year?
Well, I don't know. I don't watch baseball. What is it?
Oh. What is it? They smack a ball
It's
down.
basically Rounders. We got a game called
yeah.
Rounders. It's basically a modified version of Rounders.
Yeah,
what we used to
basically.
play at school. And I'll tell you a really funny story, shall I? And this is
I think it
absolutely
actually
true.
is.
When I was in primary school, we was playing Rounders out on the field, and I really needed to go to the toilet. And I said to the teacher, "Can I just go to the toilet?" She said, "Yeah, no problem." And she was into bat, and no word of a lie. So they pitched the ball to her. She hit it, and as I'm walking, next thing you know, I'm flat on the floor. So she hit me in the back of the head with the ball. Of course, she was really worried. She thought she was going to get sued. Well, we don't sue people here, but she thought she was going to be in trouble. And that is no word of a lie.
I believe it.
Well, to real quick comment about our baseball team. Our national team just lost against the San Francisco Giants. I mean, an exhibition game 5-1. So, I mean, come on.
Liz said you've been better, but awesome.
Well, I blame Josh.
Anyway, no, seriously, was
I
there
brought you down.
a baseball game with Britain and US?
Bring me down.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, like I'll have to send you a picture of the uniforms, Darren. It literally looks like somebody printed a piece of paper off of like Microsoft Word and taped it to their shirts.
It wasn't funny. That's why I'm a bit strange, because probably getting knocked on the head.
You're not.
So there was a comment. Yeah, that's funny.
Charles, what do I say? That's funny. All right. Well, I think we should. Like I said, we were talking a little bit about what we're reading here. Josh, do you have an updated list for us as well? Did you make a dent in the?
I have not made much of a dent, but I am going to start reading this again.
Is that the Douglas Southwell
Lost
Freeman?
Cause POS.
Yeah.
McPherson's edited version of Douglas Southall Freeman's Lee. It's very Lost Cause-y, but it's got a lot of good primary sourcing in it. So
okay, yeah, Southall Freeman.
Yeah.
I'm reading
lieutenants and
stuff about the South, but a lot of the Lost Causers, thankfully, don't like this guy, so it makes it a little nicer for me to read. But I am currently reading Mosby's Rangers, and I've got a slew of other Mosby books to go into. Because if you've been following the Unfiltered Historian, I randomly have kind of plunged into the rabbit hole of John Mosby lore. And it's kind of fitting to do so. But I literally drive through Mosby's Confederacy every single day going to and from my workplace. So the fact that I'm able to travel and be in that area, it's more motivation for me to just do one of those like stops and go and see the numerous Virginia historical markers for Mosby.
He's doing it again.
Is he? Is he smiling at you?
He's making me laugh. Stop it.
What is he doing?
I don't know.
Oh, showing this shirt.
Just being a prize prat.
Civil War bracket. The Mosby posts have been. Thank you. I plan to do a lot more with the Mosby stuff. In fact, either this week or next, I found the Rector House, which is now part of the Piedmont Heritage Association. I really want to go out there and talk about Mosby forming up the 43rd Virginia Cavalry. And I might save it for June, because June 10th will actually be the 160th anniversary of the forming of the official Mosby's Rangers that we know so well.
Can I just say something? So
Sure,
in 2021, I recorded a really cool podcast with Barton Myers, who did a lot of research into raiders and all that sort of stuff. So that's really cool.
Okay. And if you have the link to that and you want to plug it in the comments, send it to me and I'll put it up on the screen. So people can check it out.
Partisan Rangers and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah, partisan. Yeah, exactly. And it's just really interesting because, again, growing up in this part of Virginia, I was born in Leesburg in Loudoun County, which a nice hat, Anthony. But Loudoun County obviously is sort of heart to Mosby's Confederacy. My grandparents lived in Round Hill for a little bit. Again, that is just another main aspect. And there's the Mosby Highway down the street from that. If you're going like Delaplane, Paris, which is, again, where I'd have to drive there. Piedmont Station. There's so many names. Catlett Station. We could say the Fairfax Courthouse raid, which was just March 9th, 1863. That's when that happened. So we just came up on that anniversary there. So that was cool. And if you guys want, I can go into a little bit. I've done a little bit of research on that since that day because that's fun.
Real quick, we can get the comments going here.
Yeah.
Throw in, folks, your I don't like using the word favorite. Oh, hey, I know that. Yeah, there we go. Attack and Die, Civil War military tactics.
Okay.
Charles, I think I gave you that book.
Did you really?
Pretty sure I did.
Nice.
I forget if I did or not. I gave it to somebody.
Anyway. Anthony, go ahead. What were you saying?
Throw in the comments, folks, some I don't know.
The
Overlooked,
most interesting
overlooked-
general to
I
them?
was saying overlooked Confederate commanders
Overlooked.
Overlooked
Okay.
Confederates.
or Union or United States. But I'm saying since we're mentioning Mosby, he gets pushed to the backside a bit.
Oh, the whole link doesn't show up, darn it. Well, it's in the comments, so if you guys see that there, you can click it, check it out.
Let's say Bull Run Roundtable has a tour this Saturday.
Oh, they do.
But they do or they did, I forget. Charles, did it just happen?
Was it yesterday?
Pretty sure it was.
I wish I would have known. I was working yesterday, so I wouldn't be able to go.
Ah,
Some great comments coming in. Gearson's raid is my favorite cavalry action. Awesome. Well, I tell you what, Todd, I'd love to have you on here one of these days, especially with your new fun stuff going down in South Carolina. I'd love to have you talk about that. So invites absolutely extended to you for that. And maybe you could even talk to Gearson's raid. So that would be cool to hear.
I'm going to say Joe Thoburn.
Pick it clearly. I like it. Yeah, to hell with Cockburn. We don't call him Coburn. That's too nice. That's way too nice. Do I get brownie points? Where'd that go? There we go. Do I get brownie points if I say Barlow? Anthony, that's not setting the bar low, is it?
no. It's raising it.
Darren, that laugh. He said,
And you got to bring it up to 10.
I absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, stop
love you for
stealing Anthony's spotlight, Tyler.
Yeah. That's my mission tonight.
Make jokes
Keep
like that.
taking over the dad jokes. I was going to look up the 100 best dad jokes and just start saying them.
Oh, please don't.
Best thing about
Oh, no, for
Switzerland,
Confederate,
flag.
but
It's a
for
huge
Union.
plus.
Richard Coulter of the 11th Pennsylvania Infantry regularly called up to take charge of brigades during battles. Very cool. And Civil War Breakfast Club over on Facebook says that overlooked Confederate commanders are J.J. Pettigrew, Cadmus Wilcox. I had Cadmus Wilcox running through my living room during the Battle of Salem Church, by the way.
That must be awkward every time you try to watch TV. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's like, get out of the way, Cadmus.
It was
Jesus
awkward
Christ.
when I had to sleep on the airbed.
Yeah, Cadmus was poking you.
Waking me up.
Daz, what the hell are you
Yeah.
doing?
What are you doing?
It's like, oh, man, you're going to be running through here. You better not bring the fucking air conditioning with you. I'm not paying to fucking air condition the battlefield.
Thing is, as well, he left a Christmas tree up for 6 months in Tyler's.
I
place
did.
as well.
I did. It
No, that
became a
was him,
taco
wasn't it?
tree in May.
So
it
if
was
your Christmas
Wilcox.
tree falls over, do you blame it on Cadmus Wilcox? You've been running through there and knocked the whole thing over.
Real quick comment
Those
about
darn Alabamians.
real quick comment about Wilcox. He's buried in a cemetery in Georgetown that
Really?
also houses Stanton and Jesse Reno, and also a whole bunch of 20th century
God will make it happen.
diplomats.
I hear Claiborne.
Rumble Jones.
Claiborne's good.
Yes,
Claiborne.
You
Charles.
are going to
Claiborne.
study John Mosby. You must visit Mosby's Rock. It's on the list. 100%. Darren Weeks. Whenever I call
Cadmus.
Cadmus reminds me of Cadbury eggs. Every time I think of his name, I think of the Cadbury eggs. And Darren actually brought me a real Cadbury egg, not
From
this
Birmingham.
America
Oh
shite.
yeah, you had the real ones, didn't you?
Grumble Jones. Noel Harrison. Ramage's Gray Ghost is an insightful mapping and analysis of the U.S. early warring line of fortified camps and strong points against Mosby along Route 123 between McLean and GMU. Do you mean this
Oh,
one?
I got a Mosby thing.
I have Ramage's book in my hand. I'm glad to hear you say such good things about it because it was on my list of books to read next. So very happy to see that.
I got an interesting thing for you, Tyler, on
What's that, bud?
Mosby.
What's that?
If you go to Historic Blenheim, they have a reported drawing of Mosby at the top of the stairs. But
Really?
it's not Mosby.
That's not
Reportedly.
reported.
The former owner of Blenheim believed it was Mosby, but it's not. So a shameless plug for Blenheim.
Good to know. Yeah, he returned
Anthony
to
calling
plug
it boring the other day. Get out of here.
Anthony. Ooh, spicy. Todd Rhodes, if you have me
fired
on, let's
shots. I
talk
like
the
that book.
USS Harvest Moon, John Dahlgren's flagship that was sunk off of Battery Weight on 3165. Still visible at low tide.
Sterling AM. Yeah, it's good. Oh my god.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Also, Bushrod Johnson. You know, it would be interesting if one of you guys do States Rights Gist as your next Starbucks order. Just be like, my name's States Rats. Let's see if they can spell it right, or if they actually put rats on it, like RATS. Like, I'm fighting for my
fighting
rats.
for my rat.
That's right.
You're what?
My rats.
Rat.
Why are you
I
fan?
was going to repeat that line from Gettysburg, but I'm not going to do it.
Which one? I told you there is no time for that. That is
No, the one where the guy says rats. What are you fighting for, Johnny Red?
Fighting for
There's
my
some
rats.
other words that I'm not going to repeat there that are
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. But yeah, so it's been mentioned here, and I saw that our friend Charles over there on Facebook also mentioned this, but there is the anniversary of the Stoughton raid, which I'm going to try to give you the Reader's Digest, or let's just give you the Unfiltered historian.
Some U.S. guy got drunk, and that damn Reb showed up at the house. Didn't ask to be let in.
No, he
Slapped him
didn't.
on the backside and said,
Yes, he
"Get
did.
the hell up."
I don't know if he said "get the hell out." I think he's a little nicer than
Well, he
that.
never know. Well, we will not know.
We will not know.
What he said.
No.
But he's like, what do we know he said, Mr. Tyler? After he rudely showed up at the guy's house.
I do want to start just kind of from the beginning of this, if that's okay, because it's an awesome story.
He rudely showed up at the guy's house.
Very much so. So first and foremost, this raid was taking place on March 9th, was actually to capture a Brit. Darren, this is why I wanted to tell this story tonight, because it's Sir Percy Wyndham. I'm sure
keep picking on me, don't you?
I'm not. I'm picking on Percy Wyndham. Well, he started picking on Mosby first,
I'm going to put a complaint into the management team because this is just not good enough. It's called bullying.
That complaint's going to make some serious rounds in both of our inboxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Tyler,
Sir Percy Wyndham.
Tyler keeps being nasty to me.
I'm going to write back. Darren notes that Tyler has been nasty to him. Duly noted. I'm going to get one of those complaint department pins that have a grenade on it. It says, if you have a complaint, pull the pin on the grenade. That's one of the coolest complaint department things I've ever seen. That's like when I've been working before and I've had some really mean customers and like places I've worked at. I really want that, because that's how I deal with like the customers always right things. You're not always right. If you're going to be mean to people, pull a pin out of the grenade.
Sorry, carry on with what you was talking about.
Yes, so Percy Wyndham. Sorry to talk about Brits tonight, Darren, but he's only short because, of course, he's not there when the raid actually happens. But Sir Percy Wyndham has really not been a fan of Mosby's tactics. Guerrilla warfare is not his thing, so he goes to call Mosby a horse thief. And this incenses Mosby so much that he actually gathers 29 men to take this raid. Coincidentally, today using State Route 29, so I think that's fantastic. A little irony there, and Civil War is full of that. But that's the goal of this raid. Highway. It is formerly Lee Highway. So they embark to go and capture Percy Wyndham. However, Fairfax Courthouse does not have Percy Wyndham there. Percy Wyndham has made his way to Washington the afternoon of the 9th, or the 8th, excuse me. So by their arrival on the early morning hours of the 9th, he's not there. What they are facing, though, are Vermonters. There's a brigade known as the 2nd Vermont Brigade, a conglomerate of Vermont regiments that are in and around Fairfax Courthouse. The commander of this brigade is newly minted by Abraham Lincoln and not yet confirmed by the U.S. Senate. His name is Edwin H. Stoughton. Stoughton is 24 years old, making him one of the earliest and youngest brigade commanders of the Civil War. He has a serious fondness for champagne because we'll note later in the story that he was found with a stockpile, if you will, of empty champagne bottles around his bedside. So Mosby arrives in Fairfax Courthouse after weaving around many federal pickets that were there in that area. And as he's moving closer towards Fairfax Courthouse, he's noticing there's not much resistance. So, and the reason for that is Stoughton himself in Fairfax Courthouse only had about 100 troops as a guard. So there aren't many really to deal with. And by the time of Mosby arriving in Fairfax Courthouse, it's roughly 2:30 to 3 o'clock in the morning, somewhere in that time frame. The house that he's going to arrive at is known as the Gunnell House. Outside of the Gunnell House is a telegraph operator. There is a telegraph set up in the yard, who is then captured. Mosby then knocks on the door and guises himself as the 5th New York Cavalry, to which a gentleman by the name of Prentice will let him in. thinking that they are members of the 5th New York. Long buzzard breath. They're not. It's Mosby. Mosby will capture Prentice, and I'm sure. Again, we're not there, so we don't know the verbiage that was said. But I put money down that Prentice sold him out. He's like, "Oh, the guy's upstairs, dude.
Yeah.
This guy's upstairs. Get him, not me. Don't hurt me." So Mosby embarks upstairs, and when he makes it to the chambers of Edwin H. Stoughton, he finds him drunk and asleep. So he removes the bedsheet, gets a big old swift on the ass from Mosby. And as he's awaking, Mosby asks him, "Have you ever heard of John Mosby?" And with excitement, Stoughton replies, "I have, sir. Have we caught him?" "No, sir. Mosby has captured you." Some of the most famous quotes in the Civil War. Long story short, Stoughton is then taken prisoner with Mosby, and they will actually escort him down to the area Brandy Station. But along the way, they're going to pass around some very famous spots. You may have heard of a place called Cub Run. There's a suspension bridge there that's kind of out of action because some pesky Webbles decided to blow it up during the first battle with a well-aimed artillery shot. Thanks to Kemper's light artillery from Alexandria. Another story for another day there. And then they're also now moving in the area of the Bronner Farm around Groveton and moving towards, again, State Route 29, using the Warrenton Turnpike as their route of travel, making it to Jeb Stuart's headquarters in Culpeper, to which they would turn Stoughton over to. Again, this was an attempt to take Percy Wyndham, but Percy Wyndham made his way to Washington, so he was not there for the capture. So Mosby never captured him. But the story, nonetheless, is very common in Civil War folklore. It's a very famous story of the raid to the Rangers there under Mosby. This is probably one of their most memorable, just because of how fascinating it is to ride into Fairfax without firing a shot. This whole raid did not result in a casualty. There was not a shot fired. To me, that's kind of impressive. I mean, and I think maybe to most that is impressive. If you don't even have to fire a shot and you've taken a brigadier general, that's pretty impressive. So that story alone, it's unique and it's cool that we're on the 160. So I figured I'll give you the unfiltered historian version of the story today. That's really all I have on the thing. It's a great story. Lincoln himself is pretty incensed about it. He makes a comment to the likes of which that says, I can make more generals, but horses cost a lot of money. He actually gives the real quote actually has a figure of how much they cost. I believe it's $122 exactly is what Lincoln says. But it's another very famous quote of that incident. And it goes to show that Lincoln wasn't very happy about Stoughton being inebriated and caught getting slapped in the ass. That's a little embarrassing. Is that a picture of Stoughton behind you, Anthony? Or is that Milroy?
Trying to figure something out.
Pretty sure that was a guy named John Pope. I can just tell by the rotundness.
Yeah, John Pope. I'm not a Pope fan.
I mean, he got his clothes stolen by Jeb Stuart.
Yes, he did. He did indeed. All right. Does anyone else want to tell a story tonight since we're having story time, apparently? Does anyone have a famous incident of the Civil War or something that they'd like to share? Give us a Reader's Digest version of a story? Who is that?
I was about to say that Percy Wyndham had different dreams. Different dreams that night.
Very sad.
Yes, he did.
Very Colonel Arthur Fremantle. This is just a ridiculous impression.
Different dreams.
Anthony.
There you go. The actual accent. I can't do it.
I've been working on mine. Darren says I can do some words pretty good, I think. Like when I say sausage.
Yeah, you do a good British accent there.
Yeah. Well, I had to ask him because there was a video I was watching where somebody got in a car accident and this British guy angrily gets out and calls the guy an effing sausage. And I was like, do you guys call each other sausages over there? Because he's like, you fucking sausage. I was like, whoa. I was like, is that an insult? And then I watched a movie with him called Paul. And then in the morning, one of the characters got, he goes, "Oh, good morning, sausage." I'm like, what are you guys calling each other now? Like, if somebody calls me a sausage over here, I'm like, excuse me?
Anthony's got this young man creeping over his shoulder.
Yeah, please explain what the hell that is.
What's that all about?
Hold on.
Why are you smiling at it?
Hold on a second.
Darren's going to start laughing because your smile got stuck.
Yeah, just behave. Are you going to communicate with us? Or are you just going to sit there?
Oh, God. You don't want him behind you.
You might make your eyes water.
Yeah,
Anyway.
just imagine. He might think you're a watermelon or something.
That's
Yeah.
Irvin McDowell. I'll warm my hands up here.
Let's ask our commenters to see if they can identify this figure.
I just said it. I didn't know we were doing that.
I got a story. About McDowell.
Oh,
Well,
he was-
before you do, wait a second. Before you do, people in the
Hey,
comments,
you were just
please
picking
chime
his
in
nose.
whether or not you like him or not.
Anthony, you know when you
Well,
put your
hold
hands
on.
up, you're actually
No,
picking
you'll
McDowell's
like
nose.
this story
Yeah.
because it ties into the watermelon eating story. McDowell was in Arlington, at Arlington House,
Stop
and
picking his nose.
stop picking his nose. You
Yeah.
throw me off.
Darren, you just missed
staffer-
him pick McDowell's nose.
Do it
A
again.
staffer and him are having dinner, right? And McDowell is too into the food on the table to even have a conversation. Literally noted in this guy's journal. He was literally eating and refusing to converse with people at dinner in the house.
That just makes me dislike McDowell even more.
It's excellent. I was like, bruh.
And it looks like we had a guess that was Eleanor Roosevelt. Yeah, that's Eleanor, all right. Yeah,
It's a different likeness of Eleanor.
he's okay. There are. Pope being one of them. I'd say Henry Halleck too. Anthony, what is going on with your head?
Oh, Henry Halleck. Come on. That guy.
Halleck looks like a frog to start.
Halleck, Bragg,
Not even-
they're all up there.
Mhm.
Grant's a drunk.
Ledley. No, don't forget him.
Yeah, Ledley's a poor excuse of the general too. Especially his actions at North Anna and Petersburg very much back that up.
Yeah. How we never
But
lost
Anthony-
the
Oh,
goal.
man.
Can I ask you why you decided that McDowell would make for a good background today?
Wait a second.
Okay.
Please,
McDowell looks like he's backing up Anthony, like that guy stands behind you when he looks all tough. It's like, you got a problem, son?
Yeah. Watch me. You want to see me fuck up a battle? I'll show you how.
Yeah.
Not once, but twice. Ledley at the crater. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're getting some very interesting
Oh.
perspectives of generals there.
Ledley.
Ledley at the crater. Yikes. That's
Yeah.
probably the perfect
that
word
is
for
what
it.
describes it.
Yeah. I've got to get my audio working next time.
But also you have also got to blame Grant and Meade for that as well a little bit.
Blame Grant for everything.
But sorry, you do.
You're not. Yeah, Anthony doesn't love U.S. Grant.
No, I'm only going to blame him for that one.
I'm in
There's
Anthony's.
something wrong with that.
I'm not a big Grant fan myself. Actually, I don't think he's bad by any means. But
All right, no, I'm fully in the Grant camp. So if it's
Are you?
2v2, y'all can stay over here.
No, I'm in the Grant camp too, but I'm just
Are you?
saying. I think,
Fist
all
bump.
right, so Anthony,
Yeah.
there you go.
Boom. They can stay over here. We're together. There we go.
there's
I
only
will-
one
yep.
man going to get the job done, and that's US Grant.
As much as I go and jump to defend Burnside in most of the war, I don't have a defense of Burnside at the crater. No, the pulling straws or pulling sticks tactic is absolute shite, and it should not have happened.
Mhm.
And I blame him wholeheartedly because he enabled Ledley to fuck up as bad as he did. So I can't. No, I can't give Burnside some credit.
And then
there.
also you had the USCT that were trained to do that mission, and they were pulled at the last minute, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
And see, that was the biggest problem as well. So you were chucking men in there that didn't know what they were doing, and that was a result.
Grant did have a lot to do with the failure at the crater, and I blame Grant as long as with Emory Upton for his actions at Cold Harbor as well. There could have been more initiative taken by Grant. Now that's one thing that gets slept on because everybody's like, he knew what to do. He knew it. No, he had zero initiative at Cold Harbor. He didn't do any type of reconnaissance or commonsensical things at Cold Harbor. It was a failure on Grant's part, and it needs to be recognized as such. I think personally.
Quick, what was
ahead.
the only battle that Ulysses S. Grant said that more was gained in defeat than was ever gained in victory? Nobody answer it. Let the commenters roll in. Only battle that Ulysses S. Grant ever said that was more was gained in defeat than ever was gained in victory. Only one battle.
Well,
And it's thanks to one
so
guy.
I'll let them answer that, but the crater just upsets me.
Yeah.
The
It's a
entire
very
thing.
upsetting thing.
And I don't know where I read it, but it's in the back of my mind that they were executing African American soldiers literally 50 yards from Lee's headquarters. And
Yeah.
people want to defend him
Yeah.
and say he's this great person. No, there's no way you can't not see them executing prisoners over there.
See, the thing is, when people think of the Battle of the Crater, they think that it just all happened around the crater. The USCT did get sent in, but they got sent around the side, and then they ended up going a bit further in. And then, like you said, they got slaughtered, you know.
They got pushed into the crater and just slaughtered.
Yeah.
Not even allowed to surrender. They just shot him.
Again, I had a great chat with Wilson Green about that on a podcast as well, in 2021 as well, the actual crater podcast itself. We explained it, you know. And he did some great stuff with American Battlefield Trust, which is out on YouTube as well with, you know, at the actual site and everything. It's really worth a watch because it's really good stuff.
Charles,
Cold Harbor, yeah. Is that it?
It's not Cold Harbor.
No. I'm actually about to learn something then. I did not know
one
that.
battle, only one battle, Grant said that more was gained in defeat than was ever gained in victory.
It's not Shiloh.
Anybody? I don't know if there's any more comments coming in. The answer is July 9th, 1864, along the banks of the Monocacy River.
Hello, AQ.
Hello, Francis Barlow. More was gained in defeat at a little fight just south of Frederick than anywhere else. And so you got to give Lew Wallace some love.
I'll tell you what.
Lew Wallace. Monocacy.
Ooh, Richard Jones said Vicksburg. Monocacy.
Hey, we got the answer over there.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, Monocacy allows them the time to be able to conglomerate all of those troops towards Fort Stevens. Just enough time. There's some historians that will say even if Monocacy didn't happen, there was enough troops to push them out of the city, but they may have gotten into the city in the first place.
Yeah, and that would have been bad for. That would have been good for George McClellan. That would have been good for George.
Sure.
I mean, two medals of honor earned at Monocacy. One by a 24-year-old Vermonter, and the other one by a Canadian. So,
didn't know that. See, I need to get. That's admittedly, I have never been to Monocacy, never once.
I have.
It's a nice little battlefield.
Nice place. Good bookstore just north of the town.
Do they?
Oh, don't tell
Wonder
me that.
Books.
Wonder
Books? Been there quite a few times.
I've Wonder Books is actually on abebooks.com too. They actually are one of the distributors online. I get a lot of stuff from them sometimes, and I'm like, I probably should just drive up there and.
They have a couple locations. They have a location in. Ooh, I like that. I like that comment.
I saw Wilderness. And got really excited.
You just got some brownie points.
We'll actually be talking about the Wilderness a bit tomorrow and Grant's arrival into the Overland campaign. So, make sure you watch tomorrow. I have Nathan on with me tomorrow, who's I'd like to say is a pretty well-versed person on Grant. So I'm interested to pick his brain a little bit tomorrow about Grant because I like him too. But I'm one of the ones that want to find the critical parts of him and actually take those and put them more in the front, just like Phil Sheridan. But I'm not going to talk bad about.
You know what? That's one of the most amazing places I've stood is at that crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Borders and Tracy Evans doing a great job sharing the. Matt Borders and Tracy Evans in Georgia doing a great job sharing the gospel of Lew Wallace.
Yeah. The Wilderness. I tell people whenever I'm at a place that's related to Civil War history, the Wilderness is the beginning of the end of the Confederacy. It's Grant.
Yeah.
And Lee fighting for the first time, and at least the end of the Army of Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
From there, it's a systematic chain of events all the way down to Petersburg, and then Petersburg, his own chain of events, straight to Richmond, out to Appomattox.
Yeah, Lee's basically hightailing it all the way down to Petersburg at that point, and it's just Lee's on the run. Well, and you get a lot of Southern sympathizers that try to justify that, but I'm like, no, Lee got his ass handed to him. Like,
think about this. Think about Gettysburg, right? Share Andrea's comment again, real quick.
Absolutely.
So, did the Confederates win Gettysburg? The Confederates was George Pickett able to maintain his beachhead?
No, sir.
What's the only time? Wait a second. What's the only time in the United States that what's the humor?
You said beach high watermark beachhead. Make me
Oh
giggle.
my god!
I'm sorry.
But
I was
go
just
back
laughing
to-
at it in general, and then you said high watermark. I was like, oh yeah.
Beachhead. Yeah,
Wait,
there
wait.
you go.
What? But the true high watermark was Monocacy. It's the only time north of the Potomac River that the Confederate military beats the United States Army. So you can't call a defeat a high point. I mean,
Yeah.
it's counterproductive. Defeat and positivity don't go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Anthony, the lost cause is counterproductive. They take their defeats and they go, oh well, that was a high watermark of the Confederacy. How? You guys lost.
The unintended pun. The unintended pun. Share that, Charles.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
It was an unintended pun. Richard
Yeah.
Jones says, "Sure, I have an exhibition. Sir, I have no division."
I ain't got no division, son.
And John B over there on YouTube, I'm reading articles on the crater now. Nuts. Oh, dude, it's a bad day for the Union Army there.
It's a cool place to visit. Cool place.
And John B's locals. Hey, we'll have to go down there sometime this summer, man. I'll take you to the crater so you can see it. It's just down in Petersburg, believe it or not. Charles Vinoy said the unintended pun. Yes, the beachhead. That I like that actually, Anthony. I'm gonna have to keep that in my.
It didn't even cross
repertoire.
my mind until after the fact.
Yeah, no, it was great.
I will also agree with Darren on the wilderness statement. The crossroads there.
Darren sent me 3 great photos. I need to
Now,
save them really quick.
Talking about the crossroads, let's
Yep.
bring up that lovely picture.
I'm gonna have to do
Not the other
second
two.
one, too.
Save them. Save
I
them
will.
too.
I will.
Because that was good fun. That was a good laugh.
Oh, dude, that
But
was
yeah,
a
I
great
got
day.
to stand there, and I just loved standing there.
Did you do that with Chris?
No, I went there with Tim just for a little bit on one of the
Okay,
afternoons
okay.
after the symposium, yeah. And just standing there, and I was on my own because Tim stayed in the car, you know. But wow,
There it is.
Yeah. Yep.
wow, that is history right there. That is the moment. That is the turning point of the American Civil War. Is that road? Those 2 roads.
Should I
You're
start showing?
talking about the. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You continue. It was.
You're talking about the moment that Hancock shows up right in time. As Longstreet's advancing down the road, they show up right at the crossroads, right before Longstreet makes it there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about when Grant says, you know, we're going to carry on now. That's it. We're going to go south. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that bit. Sorry, yeah, but that's important as well. What you was talking about with Longstreet and Hancock.
Yeah. I mean, they're
But yeah,
fighting
I
on
totally-
earthworks that are like literally burning in flames too.
But
I mean,
also, what really gets me is when Longstreet gets wounded. You know, he doesn't get as much, publicity as Jackson, does he? You know,
Mm-mm.
I know Jackson dies, but you know, and also monument-wise, he gets a tiny little, a 30-minute parking spot.
Yeah.
Again, talking about the lost cause. Republican after the war, they didn't like that.
That's it. Yeah.
Turncoat.
So, yeah, I loved standing there. That was amazing. That was probably one of the highlights of my trip.
This one says, "Talk about bad generals. How about Floyd or Pillow at Donelson?"
How about Floyd before the war even started?
That's a fair one. All right, so
Ooh.
Darren
Now,
sent
these
me
pictures
2
are going to
other
make you
photos.
laugh because Tyler and Tim took me on a special little trip in August, and they took me to a lovely place.
That's a great place.
So take it away, Tyler. Little bastards.
That was a satisfying picture to take, as was. So for those listening later on Spotify that may not have access to the video, what we're looking at right here, I'm going to read the quotes too, so you know. The first picture is Darren crying and taking his sunglasses off and literally wiping tears out of his eyes as he's reading that Lieutenant General Charles Lord Cornwallis says this: "I have the mortification to inform your excellency that I have been forced to give up the posts of York and Gloucester and to surrender the troops under my command by capitulation on the 19th instant as prisoners of war to the combined forces of America and France.
And the main word being France.
Yeah. On the other hand, we have Darren forcing himself to be ill because he's standing under a hero
Who
by
is
the
that
name
bloke?
of General George Washington, who says that I have the honor to inform Congress that a reduction of the British Army under the command of Lord Cornwallis is most happily effected. What a way to rub salt and vinegar into that wound
But
there. Like,
honestly, of all the places I've visited, that was a great place to visit. Honestly,
it was, and it
Just
was
Yorktown in general was just an amazing place.
it was
Well, what is
great
you
that
know
we
what the
weren't shooting
closest
at each other either. Like that's
you know what
that
the
we can do this
closest
later.
you know what the closest French military cemetery is to Washington D.C.?
What would that be, Anthony?
It's Yorktown.
Yeah.
There's a French military cemetery at Yorktown.
And do you know the closest to me? It's 21 miles that way across the channel, and they can stay there. No, I'm only joking. Yeah,
He said, and they can stay there.
I will just say, the other day I went on to the Unfiltered Historian page because we did a lot of filming
Good evening, MJ.
in Yorktown, didn't we? And I rewatched some of those videos. They're great, so go and look at them.
Yeah, no, they were fun.
On the video part of the Unfiltered Historians Facebook page or American Civil War and UK History, they're on there, and they're great fun. But again, like we talked about last week, I upset someone in the first couple of seconds of the Jamestown.
Let's talk about that, actually.
Then I turned around and said, "I'm here to take the land back."
So we had a viewer,
obviously, you know.
Yeah, we had a viewer who
he got very angry.
He didn't catch the memo of the title of our podcast, The Unfiltered Historian, which happens now and again. People are like, you're objective. I don't like your agenda. And that's what was said. They said they didn't like our agenda. Now, there's patently false statements that are said, but this was one of those. And we're kind of just like, what agenda did we actually have out there other than we wanted to hang out and just kind of show everybody?
To pull up that video and play the clip
of when he said that? I
said that.
Maybe I'd have to embed it on here. I can start doing that next podcast where we can actually put videos on. So now that I know that's an interest, we'll make sure we start doing that.
It is funny. But if he'd listened to the whole conversation...
Oh, very cool, Richard. He said he lives in the Yorktown area.
It is an amazing place. I really love that place. And we had the best coffee ever.
Point in the general direction.
Do you see that comment?
They certainly do. And do you know what? I stand on the cliffs going like that. I've still got my two fingers. What are you going to do? And again,
he got it off of dead Frenchman.
Familiar with the history of the two fingers?
I don't. No,
right, okay, I'll tell you. So at Agincourt, we had a massive battle with the French, and the longbowmen, their two fingers. Obviously, the English longbowmen, like machine gun at a time. If the French caught them, off they come. So they would say, "I've still got my two fingers. You haven't caught me yet," and that's where that comes from.
No kidding.
There you go.
Can I share a French joke?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, here we go.
France.
So you may have heard this one, but here's my take on it, right? An Italian and a French general are leading their men into combat. And they come up and over the hill, and they look at the bottom, and there's the enemy. And there's a lot of them. And the Italian man turns to his aide and says, "Sir, bring me my red shirt." And the Frenchman's like, "You idiot, why are you doing that? You're going to stand out like a sore thumb." The Italian guy says, "Well, if I'm shot and I begin to bleed, nobody will notice that I've been shot, and they'll just keep fighting." And so the Frenchman, ever the passionate about going into war, says, "Okay, bring me my brown pants."
Yep.
Oh, we have Noel Harrison. Yeah, this is actually something that we do need to take a second and mention because we haven't yet, and it needs to be amended.
Definitely.
Our chief historian, Tim Wilging, has received his MA in history from Norwich University. I believe that was where it was. So I want to give him a huge round of applause. Tim has been very instrumental in the Unfiltered Historian and helps a lot when we are on location at places such as Antietam. We had a fantastic time out
his
there.
walk around Yorktown doing the Civil War stuff was amazing.
Yes, it was. It was incredible. And he's just extremely knowledgeable, and it's nice to have him on here to give him the opportunity to have his voice heard because Tim has so much knowledge and is able to to relay that in ways that even I can't. And then Darren, we look at him as just this incredible historian. So the fact that he finally has that MA is incredible, and
Yeah, he
we're very
deserves that.
excited for him
Yeah.
to bring more stuff to the table. I can tell he's Civil War'd out, which is great. I understand that happens a lot. But he has so many good things to say. So again, thank you, Tim, for being here, and also congratulations for your MA in history. And folks over there, Hardy on Twitch, clap, clap, clap. I know what it means. If you are on Twitch, it's emojis. That is not. I didn't know that Restream didn't pick that up.
I
Charles,
was like, what was that?
it's the yay and GG's, but it says Liz clap, Liz clap, Liz clap, Liz clap, Dark WI64TG, Dark WI64TG. That's what it says. It's a bunch of
No,
nonsense.
we want you to read it out properly, please.
I can't.
No, I'm joking.
John Baggett is clapping, and Todd Rhodes just said, "Didn't AP Hill wear a red shirt with brown pants?"
He got both bases covered.
He's stupid and scared.
Yep. Stupid and scared. I did an article a year or two, well, no, longer than a year or two ago, about AP Hill's death there in Petersburg. Just found it fascinating that he kind of just decided to do a Stonewall Jackson. I thought we learned years earlier that you don't go way out on reconnaissance when the enemy's pretty close, or the 18th.
Well, you all know.
Because
you know that AP Hill ain't the smartest tool in the toolbox.
There was a very funny comment.
Station. Come on, bro.
Hardy said that didn't go as expected,
though, doesn't he?
Congrats to Tim. Yeah, very much so. Tim did a fantastic job. We're glad to have him here too. I made a joke earlier that I saw around the Facebook, and I marked myself safe from the 18th North Carolina as well, because that had me in tears. That was great. And there was a comment on that thread that said, for a minute there, the 18th North Carolina was fighting for the Union, and I found that to be one of the best quotes ever too. I was like, yeah, they were. Or when we say the entire Union Army just broke through your line. That's right. They did. The 6th Corps of the Union Army, to be exact. Yeah, those North Carolinians didn't have a good
Team
day.
5th Corps. No, I'm checking. Sorry.
Team 6th Corps.
Was that at Petersburg?
Mm-hmm. April 2nd, 1865.
That visit to Pamplin, Anthony, that was amazing. What were they? One for every 20 yards?
Yeah, something like that.
To cover the line? That's insane.
Pamplin is a fantastic park to visit.
But, I mean, they were like one soldier for every 20 yards to cover that line. Of course, they just walked right through.
Yeah, they did.
God.
I mean, and you have a lot of things faceting into why this happens. Of course, you've got the Union Army accepting deserters at the crazy rate. Like, you have Confederates that are literally like, fuck this, I'm done fighting. They'll drop their guns and walk across. And they're just like, what am I going to do? Sit here and starve and then get assaulted by the entire 6th Corps? Fuck no, I'm going over to you guys. So there is some commonsensical Confederates, if you can even call one that, that there is that going on, and they're actually leaving to go to safety, which is crazily in the enemy's hands. It shows you the situation they're in. The Confederates are in a very desperate spot. The ones that stayed.
I give up, bro.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Was shad Pickett's favorite fish? Apparently so. Enough so to where you just completely destroy. He's definitely at fault for that too. I mean, you don't get a pass for going on a fucking fish fry at the right while you're supposed to be guarding. Yeah, 5 Forks gets completely
General Lee, I have no division.
That's because you're eating fish.
Real
bad old man got my division slaughtered.
Real quick on 5 Forks, Warren should not have been fired.
No, he should not have. But you have Little Phil to blame for that one. I am not a Phil Sheridan fan. If you haven't been able to guess by now, not at all. Phil Sheridan was absolute donkey
little man syndrome going on.
Yeah, Little Phil.
And wait a second, he didn't invent Total War. John Pope did.
Yep. So stick it to you, Phil. Also, Phil Sheridan. My favorite story is at Chickamauga when he's trying to rush to the front of the lines and he's screaming, "Make way for Sheridan!" Then he gets absolutely clobbered by Longstreet's attack, and then he comes running back like he doesn't have any business being there, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, make way for Sheridan!" Yeah, it was great. Hightailing it and retreating, where he was, that's what he was known for. He needs a revisiting because he gets a lot of love and he's not He's not all that in a bag of chips.
Burn, baby, burn.
That's right. Little Phil. Eric Wittenberg wrote a pretty good book on him. I would highly recommend that to you guys if you haven't read it yet. It's called Little Phil, and it is a very great look at Phil. I enjoyed
Great
it
little
heavily.
book.
It is. Yeah, it is a great little book.
So what happened with the 18th North Carolina? I'm drawing a blank. I saw that.
Oh, they
on there,
shot
and I'm just
Stonewall
like,
Jackson.
They had the best
Oh,
shot of the entire war.
Yeah, but they
oh.
did it right
I
outside.
thought it was like
the
a
visitor centre
reenactor
as
thing.
well.
No.
How convenient.
I was like, what, are reenactors actively shooting each other actually now? What the
18th
hell?
North Carolina, best shot of the entire war.
That's right.
You got that right.
That's why I found the comment so funny about they were fighting for the Union for a minute. Because I was like, yeah, they shot Jackson. Which, and there's some things that I don't think gets talked about a lot. Even down to some of the tours that I've been on, both at the site and on other places. There's some factors that I think I don't want to excuse the 18th North Carolina. Hold on, I do want to answer this. Yes, he did.
Yes,
absolutely, and he had nothing to show for it either. I mean, you have to rename your horse 4 different times after battles you win. Like you're a pompous ass, absolutely, and that's what he was. I almost like Halleck a little more than I dislike Phil Sheridan, if that makes any sense. And I hate Henry Halleck. But, God, dude, Sheridan just – no. Actually, I don't think he was much of a loss. He's overrated.
yeah.
Well, so Jackson, 18th North Carolina. 2 things that I find really interesting. Lieutenant Colonel Levi Smith is in command of a Pennsylvania regiment on the other side of the turnpike, not the one Jackson shot on. And, of course, we know Jackson leads his reconnaissance late at night. He's going down the mountain road, if you believe that story, or he's on the turnpike. It's up for debate, whichever you want to choose to believe. I technically don't go by a typewritten letter discovered in the 1990s, but a lot of people do, and that's fine. But we also know that the 9th Virginia Cavalry had this gentleman in Gordonsville, not Fredericksburg, but Chancellorsville. So that's another story. It's really interesting to read into some of this stuff. That's the story of the Mountain Road really surfaces in the Charleston Mercury Journal in the 1880s too. So is it, again, up for debate. I'm not going to dive into that wormhole today. We can do that on another time. But there's a Pennsylvania colonel, lieutenant colonel on the other side, who's really upset that his trenches were just stolen from him by rebels during Jackson's flank attack on May 2nd, 1863. So he's going to jump out of his trench with a white flag and go ask who is occupying his trenches. And then thinks he can return to his own men. Well, he quickly learns when the Confederates grab him by the belt and pull him back into the trench and say that you are a prisoner, white flags don't work that way, dude. That, oh, shit, this is bad.
No.
That Pennsylvania regiment ends up getting captured by a few Confederates who shout that Stonewall has you surrounded. Even though they do not have them surrounded, this does happen. And it's situations like that. And on the side of the turnpike that Jackson is on, you have the 8th Pennsylvania Cavalry literally moving out of the woods, shooting at the rebels that are entrenched there in their lines or standing closer to where Jackson's about to be wounded, and then materializing back to the woods like nothing ever happened. The 18th North Carolina has a lot of reason to be trigger happy, in my opinion. And then when you have Jackson coming out in a raincoat on horseback in the same general area, the 8th Pennsylvania Cavalry is, again, just like virtually materializing out of the woods, shooting and then melting back into cover. You're damn right you're going to shoot him. You've just had this incident happen. You have Smith over here just walking into enemy trenches being like, hey, how you doing? Good, yeah. So there's a lot of confusion going on. It's dark. There's a lot of factors into why the 18th North Carolina are popping old Stony there. And I think that's it's understandable. I don't blame them as much as a lot of people are like, oh, they were stupid. No, they weren't stupid. They were getting shot at. There were false white flags just flying around in the trenches for intelligence purposes or what they thought was intelligent purposes. I dare to say that was the case. But Noel Harrison says something cool. He says, on subject of historical learning, question for Harper's Ferry. Was the work of the late NPS interpreter Dave Larson used much on NPS training in your day? Just curious. Watch the video on his cool 1980s gun talk and say, yes, cool.
The gun talk is the best. Noel, yes. Right. Josh
Yes.
and I used to be the Harper's Ferry folk. David Larson, that gun talk is the best thing. I mean, he's able to take that inanimate object and make it be, right? Mm-hmm. And being able to connect the lives of the worker, the enslaved, the woman. I mean, that talk was amazing. And the people that were
What-
there that Josh and I worked under were friends and colleagues and proteges of Larson. So
One would say who taught him.
yes, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
one
John King,
one
Melinda
person.
Day, all that. Yes. So Noel, it's a great video, and
He does in 10 minutes what that we did in 30.
I encourage anybody to watch that video.
Sheridan had small man syndrome. Absolutely, he did. I love these. You guys are great. Like, keep talking bad about Sheridan. I'm all about it. And I want to go back to and circle back to MJ's comment there. The Claiborne was a bigger loss for the Confederates. You know what? I'd say so. Jackson out of the picture already? Yeah. And Jackson really didn't do much other than the Valley campaign. I mean, his Richmond performance was pretty poor, especially when you fall asleep in the middle of a battle. Like, that's right.
He wasn't much of a stone wall when he was on the horse getting shot at.
It wasn't much of a stone wall at the bivouac site either. Oh God, I said it.
Yeah.
I said it.
Yeah.
I can't.
There you go. You
There
said
you
it,
go.
so I didn't have to.
No, I didn't. The bivouac site.
The
Again, that's the
bivouac
story. That's
site.
where Lee and Jackson gave themselves a
They
little
had their
smooch
little
before he went
bivouac
on.
the
Yep.
night before.
Oh
on the
man,
crack box.
8th Pennsylvania Cavalry in a box.
What, the cracker box?
the wank box. Yeah. No, it's okay. Noel posted something here. Let me get that link up. I'd like to see exactly what this is because I do enjoy commentary from Noel there. Let's see what we got there.
I like to envision the hands that made the weapon. Sorry,
Absolutely.
I did my best David Larson impression there.
No, that was good. That was good. Oh, wow. You can literally get the 8th Pennsylvania Cavalry. Yeah, the 8th Pennsylvania Cavalry in a box.
Oh, side note for Noel there. The book Meaningful Interpretation that Larson wrote is still used by pretty much every interpreter I know.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's called Meaningful Interpretation, and it's a really good book. But it's used by museums, park sites, everybody.
Of course, I mean, I'm still very partial to Tilden. I mean, I think, I mean,
Tilden, yeah.
I've heard that there's some talk about maybe that's not the most modern. I still find Tilden to be incredible. I'm not going to lie to you. I read it once a year, actually. It's just as a refresher because that book was very meaningful to my younger self in 2016. And ever since then, it's just, since I've had it handed to me, it has been one of my favorite books to read ever. Darren, if you ever get a chance, look for it online. Look for Interpreting Our Heritage by Freeman Tilden.
I will.
It has nothing to do with
The 10 principles.
Yeah, it's all about interpretation, historical interpretation at battlefield sites or outdoor sites. It's used by the NPS quite a bit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I would highly recommend you check that out if you get a chance because it's just.
Please.
I like to think that even with what we do here, when it gets into the tangible and intangible interpretation, that really does also impact us as historians online. We've created this space, and especially since COVID, there's been this uptick in online presences with historians.
Yeah, and that's why I'm here. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And even CW Breakfast Club, if you guys haven't read it either, put that on your list, man. Because if you take that and then use the lessons that you have in Tilden's interpretation and bring that to the virtual world. I think there's some really interesting things that we can learn from Tilden and implement that online as well. And it's been incredible. So like I said, every year I do go back and reread it as a refresher, or just because I found the values and the way that Tilden approaches things so remarkable. And I do love to really continue to just read it and soak that in, absorb it like a sponge, if you will. Well, folks, we have reached an hour and 15 minutes tonight, a little bit longer than normal, but that's okay because we had a lot of fun conversation. I think tonight was actually a very meaningful episode. There was a lot of serious talk. We got to shit on Phil Sheridan a little bit, so I'm always happy about that. Anthony made a couple dad jokes, and I'm going to ask him to give us
to close the program
on our way out because I really enjoy this. And also, before I go, we need to take another picture pointing at Anthony to advertise. You guys want to point at Josh tonight, or do you want to point at Anthony? I'd love to
point at Josh.
Why point at me?
Yeah,
I don't have any dad jokes.
Anthony's down here. So everybody point while I get the camera ready. Anthony, I'm sorry. Anthony's going to point this time.
I can't
Darren,
reach
point
him.
down. Point down.
No, it is that way.
There we go.
And here's one for
love
the
it.
French. Anyway, yeah.
Good
Still
stuff.
got 'em.
So, Anthony, do you have anything for us tonight?
Generally speaking.
What did 12 apostles have? When they went car shopping, what did they get? I don't know, but they were all in one accord when they got there.
Bruh.
Anyway, moving on quite swiftly.
Anyway.
Thank you, everybody. Tune in tomorrow, right? There's something tomorrow.
That's right. Let me close with this one then, since that. Damn, Anthony.
Anyway, I've got
Hey,
one.
did you ever tell
Oh,
us?
sorry.
Oh, you do have one? Tell us one.
Yeah, sorry. The
No, don't be
hunchback
sorry.
of Notre Dame walked into the bar, and the man behind the bar said, "What's the matter, mate? You got the hump?" Anyway, sorry.
An Irishman walks out of a bar.
You made him leave.
How did he manage to walk out for a
It could
start?
happen.
Because an Irishman doesn't walk out the bar. He gets.
Hey,
you
you
know,
watch it with that accuracy there, all right? You watch it with that accuracy. I know that. Okay, I'm Irish. I know that's true. Oh, Josh, he does not like our jokes tonight.
Oh.
Are our jokes upsetting you?
Well,
Why should you point at him?
advertise tomorrow.
That's right. Tomorrow night at, I think we have 6 o'clock tentatively. Let me make sure before I give you guys the wrong time. Hold on. I think it's 6. Let me make sure. Hold on. My computer's being slow, even though it's working fast over on this end. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. There we go. Okay. I'm getting pointed at. I just
Tune in for another episode of the Unfiltered
There will
Historian.
be an episode, and we are talking about Grant coming east. What it's like to have the Army of the Potomac with Ulysses S. Grant at the head. Because we know Meade's still in command. But is he really when his boss is breathing over his shoulder the entire
Never.
time? There's
Never.
a great picture I'll show you guys tomorrow, too, at Massaponax Church with Grant standing over Meade looking at a map. And that right there is probably the best summary of the relationship between the two. It's very, very, it's just a voluminous, like, it's awesome. It's great. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll talk about the pros and cons. We'll talk about what it's like to smoke 20 cigars a day, to whittle sticks until your glove falls off, to enter into combat in the hellacious wilderness, and then to Spotsylvania. And welcome to Brandy Station to General Ulysses S. Grant. Folks over on Facebook, folks over on YouTube, folks over on Twitch, we thank you guys so much for being a part of the conversation and keeping history alive. We've gotten a lot of good episodes booked that I haven't announced yet. Anthony knows what I'm talking about. We have some great people that are about to join on for some surprise episodes. So look out for some posts here in the near future. And as always, we will see you guys on the next one. Thank you all so much for keeping history alive and joining.